everybody. It is NFT Buyer 777, and I am the co-founder of MetaMillions. I'm back with another video. I hope you enjoy. All right, so before we get into it, I wanted to give a big shout out to Lauren, the owner of Solana NFT Radar's Discord. And she hosted a poll in her Discord last week, and it really wanted to get a sentiment of what her Discord would love to learn more about. And so I really wanted to focus on the two top responses. Response one was learning when to sell a project and learning when to hold on to a project. And the other response was learning about a team and their roadmap. So we're going to break a lot of that down today, and I'll just walk you through what I do. It's just a method that I'm going to explain. It's not the perfect method. It's not the only method, but this is a method that I've seen success with. So before we get into breaking that down, we need to learn about why you're in the NFT space. So generally, there are going to be three reasons. One is going to be you really like art and you want to own some cool art in the digital age. Now, for that reason, you need to figure out a budget and then go and find cool art. That's about it. If you don't care about the price or you don't care about how the project does long term, that's all you really need to know. And then there's another reason. So reason two is going to be you really want to use the service that the NFT provides, or you want to use the video game that the NFT is going to be a part of. And for that, I would say do your research on the team, figure out what they're doing and kind of the history of the team as a whole to see if they can actually create the game or if they have that kind of history, and figure out a few that you like and go ahead and look at those in a little more depth. And you don't really have to focus on the floor price. And then the third reason, and this is the reason why a lot of people are in the NFT space, is it's going to be profit. People want to make money in the NFT space, and people love making money in the NFT space. It'd be foolish to think otherwise. So because this is true, we need to understand the market. We need to know why we're buying and selling and when to buy and sell. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys because I want to use some data so that you can follow along. The first thing that I'm going to cover is this article made by Endy.sol in Solana's NFT Radar. It's a really good read, and I'll actually link it in the comments. I think it was a great read. It's about a 3 to 5 minute read, so not too much time. Now, he talks about Solstead's surreal estate, and this chart right here tracks the floor price of the project from September 30th all the way to December 29th. And if you're not familiar with how the terminology of the NFT space yet, floor price just means the cheapest NFT that you can buy. So the cheapest one that's listed at that time. And so we're going to look at this chart, and initially you purchased Solsteads at 0.25 from the project, 0.25 Sol. And Sol right now is about $100 for one Sol. So every time you hear one Sol, that's going to be about $100. So 0.25 is $25. Now, we can look at this, and there's an initial pump that makes it up to about 14 or 15 Sol, which is $1,400 to $1,500. And that's an amazing return off of a $25 investment initially. Now there's a big drop off and then this massive pump afterwards. So it almost breaks 60 SOL, which is about $6,000. And this is what drives a lot of people crazy. They sell in this first pump, and then they see this massive pump on the second hand. So what I do and what I like to do is before I buy a project is I like to know what I might be able to get out of the project. And I do that by looking at the team. I look at their history, I look at how strong they are, and then I set a goal on what I think that I could get return out of. And once I reach that goal, that's when I list the project. It's something that is helpful for me to capture profit, and it's worked for me in the past, but I'm going to miss out on these big secondary pumps if they happen, because these secondary pumps don't happen all the time. And a lot of times there's this pump initially, and then it just stays down here for the length of the project. Now, most people are going to sell here. A lot of people, not most, but a lot of people are going to sell around this time period. And what I would try to do myself is I try to sell on this initial pump, or if I really believe in the project, I'll make it to about this initial pump or this secondary pump. And so we're going to talk about why I would sell here or hold until here. Now let's go ahead and break down a team, because this is really one of the biggest determining factors. This is the Sweets team, and they're a very, very big team. They have 12 people, and then they have 4 advisors. So that's about a 16-person team focused on one NFT project, which is a massive team in the NFT space right now. Most teams are anywhere from 2 people to 4 or 5. And so I really got interested in the project initially because they had this massive team behind them. So I believed that they could probably do what they said they were going to do. And then I looked more at their roadmap. I kind of looked at what they were promising initially and then long term. And then I dove more into the history of the team as a whole. And the history of the team was pretty exciting. They already had launched 2 other NFT projects that were doing well, and they have some pretty good experience behind them, which I like, that they're highlighting their experience. They're not hiding it from people. And then another project I want to go into is Borgs. Kind of the same thing here. They have a massive team, and they had about 8 people initially, and then they added 4 developers after launch. And so they have about a 12-person team right now. And I looked more at the history of the team, and they worked with several AAA video game companies. So EA Sports, if I remember correctly, and then a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But I was really attracted to their background as well. So I believed that they could deal with delivering their long-term roadmap. Now, let's go ahead and look at Borgs and how they're doing. So their floor price is at a 6.2. Now, I purchased it from the project at 2.5, and they actually followed a lot of Solsteads. So I bought down here at 2.5, which is about $250, and then they pumped up all the way to about a 7 floor price, and then they dropped all the way back down to a 2.8 floor price. So we're almost following this exactly. And then they started pumping. So they're right about here, And so I'm confident that they'll make it a little bit higher. I have my metrics that I want to pay attention to. I'm not going to advise you on what goals to set yourself. I'm just walking you through my method. And I believe that they have a few things that they can make a pump a little bit further. And so I'm still holding my bot board, but I'm watching this closely and I'm watching the team and what they're talking about and what they're planning on delivering. And so I want to follow this project very closely and what the team is saying and how they're interacting with the market, how they're interacting with their community, and how they're interacting with other NFT projects. Because I like to see more a professional project, because really we're investing in a business. And so professional individuals are going to succeed in the professional world, and I think that they'll do well long term. And I think that they'll be able to make it that secondary pump. Now, let's go ahead and go to a different project that is a video game company as well. So we're looking at Chainmyth here, and Chainmyth is an example of this pump, except after they went down, they stayed down. So Chainmyth, you could buy at 2 SOL from the company, and then on secondary, initially it hit secondary at 4 SOL, which is about $400. And then it went all the way up to about 5 SOL, and then it hit really strong resistance at 5 SOL, and then stayed around a 3.5 SOL range for the floor price for about a week. And then the team came out with in-game footage of their video game. And this in-game footage didn't land really well with the community. Not everybody was as excited about the in-game footage as one had hoped. And so the floor price fell down to 2 and has stayed there since then. Now, the team has said they're going to come out with more footage, they're going to do some updates, and they're really hoping that that increases the floor price. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I'm not personally invested in Chainmyth. So just talking about the video game NFTs, you need to be aware of a lot of different things. You need to be aware of the team, their history, and how well their in-game footage plays with the community. So let's go ahead and move away from a video game purchase and sale and go more towards kind of a reveal. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the NFT space, I'll go ahead and break that down. So Chainmyth actually had a reveal. So you could buy these golden tickets from the company. They had about 1,500 of them. You could buy a golden ticket that guaranteed you would get one of these NFTs. So before you could buy from the public, you could buy this ticket. Or before anyone could buy the Chainmyth NFT, you could buy this ticket, and it was automatically guaranteed that you would get a Chainmyth NFT. So as the project got closer and closer to the date that it was released to the public, so the closer the public was allowed to buy the NFT, the more expensive these golden tickets got. So initially you could buy it from the project at 1 SOL, which is about $100. And the day of mint, right before mint, it went to 7 SOL floor price, which was around $700. So that was a big increase for those who bought tickets early on. And I personally love this type of flip. Is they do very well if the project markets well. So if the project is going to be doing really good marketing and there are a lot of exciting stuff behind it, I try to buy these tickets kind of across the board if they have a good marketing team. I don't do much research on the history of the project or the history of the team, because the excitement behind the project is what increases the value of these tickets. So I like tickets and reveals and all that good stuff, and I sell right before the reveal or right before the mint. So I would have sold this right before that reveal, which is really me going back to this. This is really helpful, the tickets, because it has a set day that there's going to be a pivot point here where it either goes down or it skyrockets, but this pivot point is going to be crucial for the following days, and it means that you can capture that profit and you know the time that it's going to happen. So that's why I like tickets and reveals, because you know when to sell. And then we're going to go to when that's a bad example. So Boryoku Dragons, all of my kind of methods so far has really been explaining how I capture profit on NFTs as a whole. And I definitely have missed out on big pumps afterwards. And I want to give you an example of the types of projects that pump really well long term. So Boryoku Dragons is at a 400 SOL floor price, which is about $40,000 right now. So this sold for about 2 SOL, which was about $200 back in October, November of 2021. And it has just gone up since then. And this is why people get so excited and so willing to hold long term for a project, is because there are projects out there that do what Boryoku Dragons did. They go to 400 SOL. And those projects I have missed out on because I sell early and I sell to capture profit, but I have specific metrics that I want to meet. And so I meet those metrics either on the purchase of the NFT or on my NFT portfolio as a whole. And then I have specific long-term holds that I think could pull a Boryoku Dragons. And that's something that you need to focus on, is what type of profit goals do I want to hit, and can I have a risk where I may have this long-term hope that my NFT project goes to Boryoku Dragon level, which is possible. And so that's what I would say is my own advice, and how I follow my methods is I set goals. Once I meet those goals, I sell out. And once I have a large enough bag in specific areas, I'll have these long-term holds that meet certain criteria that I think could pull a Boryoku Dragons. So that's what I do. That's the reason I break down projects. And most of you that are watching this video have probably asked me or Hot Sauce in Soul NFT Radar or Lauren or Dulce or any of those, and you've asked them, hey, what do you think about this project? And their response is, I don't really know, or I don't know enough, or I'm not sure. And it's mainly because they're taking all of this into consideration, and they haven't done a lot of that research on that specific project. So just want to give you some information on my methods and what I do going into a project, because each NFT is different, and you need to analyze a project differently depending on the goals and the roadmap of the team. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. Again, I am the co-founder of MetaMillions NFT. I'll link our Discord. I would love if you hopped in and said, hey, I saw the YouTube video. Really excited to learn more. Ask me any question that you like. I'm in that Discord 7 days a week, and I'm in there almost all the time. So I look forward to talking with you guys soon. and have a good rest of your day.